This is the life of Macbeth. This is the life of Macbeth. What?
Go watch Tick Tick Boom. But tonight we're here to talk about one film and one film only. That is
The Tragedy of Macbeth.
Dunner.
It honestly wasn't that tragic. I kind of I
mean,
thought it was like a good thing that happened at the end, right?
I think,
Yeah.
sure, the ending, but I feel like all the shit that happens because well, all the lead up, it's about the journey, you know. The destination is satisfying. But, well, I mean, so was the journey. We're here to talk about it. Let's go.
Yep.
What's going on?
It's another episode of Half a Clue Movie Review.
Yeah.
And we are joined by Miles,
Hello?
Ron,
Hey.
Philip, and our special guest star and graphic designer, Rosie.
Hi.
It's always great to have you here, Rose.
Oh, thanks, guys.
Give a round of applause.
Yes, you're our favorite.
Stop it.
You're our favorite villain.
They're just happy because I came with donuts.
Yes.
What's it called? Oh, other thank you for the donuts.
Yes.
Yeah, thanks.
Definitely.
What's it called?
Shout out to Donut Man.
Yeah.
If you guys wondering why we sound so crazy and cold, is because it's really cold, and this is our third episode we're recording.
It's about 40-something degrees in here, so that's no.
I'm gonna get a heater.
I'm
I
not.
promise.
I'm not trying to shit on you, Miles.
Yeah.
I'm just stating the situation.
I mean,
if
it's supposed to be California that we're living in. Winter's not supposed to get this cold.
If anything, this is keeping everybody awake and energized.
Yeah.
So our energy levels are up. So
It's
good.
3 a.m. No,
Yeah.
I'm kidding. No,
Yep.
it's no, it's not that late. Anyway,
So the Tragedy of Macbeth, directed by Joel Cohen in his first solo effort. Because Ethan Cohen, I think, is just directing plays now, or just kind of staying away from films.
what a
I
loser.
really wish that Ethan Cohen had also tried to adapt Macbeth at the same time, and then they had like a face-off in the theaters
like,
of
what's
who
a-
could get the most.
You just
money.
record his stage play Hamilton style and just like watch them back to back. Be like,
Yes.
who did it better? Huh?
That would be great. Yeah, and written by Joel Cohen's solo effort, and it stars Denzel Washington as Macbeth and Frances McDormand as Lady Macbeth. What a power couple, by the way.
Yeah.
Understatement.
Two terrifying people. I don't know what it is, but about Denzel Washington and Frances McDormand, they're intimidating to me.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like if I met them in real
Insta-presence.
life, there's no way that I could like actually talk to them or something. I'd just be so scared.
Yeah, this is like what Frances McDormand's like third film this year that I've
Oh
seen
yeah.
her in.
This is
Yeah.
like
This French Dispatch, and what's the other film?
Nomadland.
The Nomadland's
that was
last
last
Oh
year.
yeah,
Yeah.
sorry. Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
sure there was another one. I might be wrong though.
year. Yeah.
I thought there was, but
She's been
Big
busy though.
Yes.
Yeah, she's been busy. And I think the only actress ever to win 3 Best Actress Oscars.
Ow.
Yeah,
Wow.
Yeah,
Even
she
Meryl Streep.
Yeah, she beat Meryl Streep.
I'll take that, Meryl.
Oh
yeah,
my god.
Meryl Streep is the most nominated for sure, but yeah, she beat Meryl Streep for Best Lead Actress performance Oscars.
Wow.
That's
Yeah.
impressive.
I think
She's
that's
like the Tom Brady of,
Yeah.
of the female Oscars.
Yeah,
Except that she
didn't cheat.
she deserves it. That's the
Yeah.
difference.
I think yeah, her 3 are her first one is for Fargo, obviously.
Okay.
That was like her character breakout movie. I mean, there's Blood Simple. And then the next one is 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri.
Mhm.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
And not long afterwards, Nomadland. Yeah.
That's one of those movies that's been on my watch list for a long time, but I've never gotten around to.
I think you'll love it. That's
3
one film I'm like,
Billboards,
that's
yeah.
a Miles film.
Yeah,
That's a film built for Miles.
Definitely.
from
it's
ground up.
definitely like on my list of like things I need to watch. It's just I haven't
If it
gotten
was
around
3
to it.
billboards outside, like Iowa or like Chad's Pizza, then it probably would have been in the museum. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jeez.
By the way,
Yeah.
for people who don't know, Miles was in Iowa for a bit.
Yes.
It's not Missouri at all.
And
But-
I was a pizzapreneur. That's how you say like a pizza entrepreneur, right? Yeah.
I did.
What?
Sure. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Pizzapreneur. Just
Yeah.
wait till
That,
wait till he goes to New York. He'll destroy New York with his amazing mac and cheese pizza. Yeah,
No,
I'm
the
just-
mac
I'm
and cheese
joking.
pizza's not great, but
Yeah. I'm just-
yeah, there's
So, what is everyone's history with Shakespeare's Macbeth and the film adaptations of Macbeth?
I had to read it in high school.
Yeah, I think we all did.
Yeah.
I had to
Yeah.
read it in high school and like every year of college. As like English major, it's like for some reason they're just like, we already know you read Shakespeare, but we have to make sure you read Shakespeare. How? Okay, so you read Shakespeare once, but now put one eye over the other and read Shakespeare. And after
But,
that,
I mean-
blindfold it and you hear Shakespeare, and after that, stab yourself while listening to Shakespeare.
I mean, there's definitely reading Shakespeare and reading Shakespeare.
Yeah.
You know, and you even get that like in this film where if you don't have experience with Shakespeare, I think that it can fall a little bit short because you can get lost in the language.
I see
oh, yeah.
that.
You know?
Yeah.
And so I could see that as being a potential issue for people going into this film.
So basically, if you're an uncultured fuck, you won't like this movie. Oh, that makes sense.
Have you seen Have you seen any other film adaptations of Macbeth though, Miles?
No, I have not at this
Okay.
point. Yeah.
Rose, have you?
I just watched Throne of Blood.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You?
Yeah, pretty much most of them mainly because of classes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
The Polanski one's interesting because that was like him working out after the death of his wife.
Yeah, I
Sharon
think
Tate.
that's the one that I saw too
Yeah.
in school. When our teacher was like, "I want to show you Throne of Blood, but instead we're gonna watch this one." And I was like, I'd never heard of Throne of Blood at that point, but I was like, I really want to fucking watch that just because it sounds. He's
It's
like,
so
yeah,
much
it's like
better.
it's a samurai movie directed by Akira Kurosawa. It's black and white, and it's called Throne of Blood. I was like, I want to watch it, but no, we ended up watching the Polanski
you know,
version. and I
kids
was
could
like,
watch it too. Honestly,
whatever.
it's not like the most.
No, it's
graphic.
really not.
It's
like no,
still
Yeah.
the same story, which
yeah,
is
it's still brutal, and
Yeah,
there's a lot
rough.
of murder and blood. It's like I don't know, whatever.
Yeah. And there's the
They could've
Orson
gotten away
Welles
with it.
one,
Oh,
which
okay.
is that one got fucked over by studio stuff. It's not, and that's actually what delayed Throne of Blood from coming out.
Oh,
Yeah. But
interesting.
Throne of Blood, I mean, we're not talking about it much in this. We will in one day.
Yeah.
We'll, of course,
We're gonna get into it eventually because that's like that may be the first Kurosawa film that I watched, and yeah, it's what got me hooked. I was like, ooh yeah, like I want to see more of this dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's my favorite adaptation of this story.
Yeah.
This story of Macbeth.
Yeah, I'd say that.
Yeah. But this one, is it close? We shall see.
Yeah. All right, so I'm pretty much in the same boat as Philip. I saw the Polanski one. I saw Throne of Blood, and now I've seen this one. So yeah.
All right. So, Tragedy of Macbeth. Do we really have to explain the plot? It's Macbeth.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
Macbeth.
Most,
Okay.
most people know the basic concept of Macbeth.
Are there any key differences that you guys noticed between the play version of Macbeth that was written by Shakespeare and this adaptation?
Word wise, the language is pretty much on point. But the big thing is Ross, or
Mhm.
that character, or that equivalent of that character, is given a much more meatier role in this one, and it's within the gaps of the dialogue.
Played by Alex Hassel, who you might recognize as he played Translucent. He's the invisible guy, and the boys are also. If you're unfortunate to have watched the Cowboy Bebop Netflix
Wait,
adaptation,
if he's invisible, how do you recognize him?
He's not
He stops being
invisible.
invisible at one point.
He's translucent.
Yeah.
and then also he played Vicious in the Cowboy Bebop live action thing, but
He was
That-
much better in this.
Yeah, this
so
is-
much better,
Yeah.
so much better in this. It's
By far,
ridiculous.
like the best performance by him out of the three, in my opinion.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that I've seen. This is from what I've seen from him. Yeah, this is by and large the best.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's a great actor. Like even in Vicious, I could tell what a great actor, but in a bad role.
Yeah,
It's
poor
like,
guy.
This guy's really giving it to this shitty script and
Yeah.
see and like all these terrible
And he got
situations.
all
that
jacked
he's
up
in.
for Vicious too.
Yeah, it's
It's
sad.
sad. And you can tell, like he's like apparently a big fan of the original anime and stuff.
That's
Cowboy
great.
Bebop. But just
Yeah,
yeah.
that's
Luckily
not
got
his
canceled.
fault.
Ends his misery.
Yeah,
Woo!
good.
Mhm.
And then there's other people like Corey Hawkins and McDuff, which was inspired choice.
Yeah,
Yeah, interesting. Brandon Gleeson as King Duncan, which is perfect. Yeah.
and he gave a very good performance.
Yeah, and Harry
Yeah.
Melling, who played he played one of like Harry's is it Harry's cousin, right? In Harry Potter.
Yeah,
that's
dude.
the
I was like,
guy.
what, Dudley? What's
Good
he doing
job.
here?
I
Good
didn't even
work.
notice that.
Really?
Yeah.
He has a very distinct
Yeah,
face.
very
Yeah,
distinctive
I don't know why I didn't notice that. Jeez, wow.
I just want to say, Brandon Gleeson. I know we just mentioned, but like every time I see him in like anything, like I always love him.
Yeah.
he's
Yeah.
always great. He's
Oh,
like
instant
Brian
charisma.
Cox.
Yeah.
Him and Brian Cox, who I think they played brother in Troy's and
Yeah.
brothers in Troy, and that was great. But yeah, I just love him. He's a great dude.
It's like I say for the cast wise, but the weird person that actually somehow stole the show is Catherine Hunter.
Yes,
the
no,
witches.
definitely.
Oh,
yes,
Yeah.
dude. She's
yeah.
fantastic. She has the voice and what she does physically too,
Yeah.
like is outstanding.
Apparently, I looked her up. She's a physical performance actor in England.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
I'd seen her in like other stuff, like from like actually a lot of these people, like Harry Potter. She plays like the Harry's neighbor at one point. Just keep an eye on him, and she's been like in a few other things here and there. But like, I'm so glad that she got such an opportunity to shine in this role and to show off those physical abilities that I had no idea she was capable of.
Almost
No,
like
her
a
body movements and her body positioning, it really felt like kind of an old, decrepit, not really all 100% human witch,
Yeah.
you know, and
Yeah.
it kind of leaned into, without having to use special effects or too much makeup, leaned into the kind of supernatural feeling that the character is supposed to give off.
Yeah,
Like
she has-
his physical performance made him a lot more surrealistic. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. They have like the crow like imagery that is associated with
Yeah.
the witch a lot. And it works so well because she's like, she's perched and crouched over. She's like contorting herself. When she moves, you hear like the sound of like flapping
those
and
sound
stuff.
effects, just,
Oh,
great,
like
great.
they did that great.
It
yeah.
does so much to just sell it, and it's awesome.
I know one of the complaints. I say, and there's very few. Like literally, there's like one guy, one critic, Alonso Duralde. From
Who's
The
this
Rap.
guy? What's his name?
Yeah, it's
Where's he live?
I absolutely respect this guy, but one of his complaints, he said he liked the film, and I bring this up because I'm gonna ask you this question. He said he watched it, he enjoyed it, he thought it was technically great, but he said why? Why was this made? Why Macbeth now? Because every time a Macbeth film was made, was either the first time or there's a different take on it, like Kurosawa, with
Yeah.
Samurais, or it's like Polanski was doing it to work out his own personal issues, and it came out on the film, right? And then he said, why would Cohen do this? Like, what's the point? And do you guys feel like that why question has detracted you from like enjoying this film at all, or is it just simply just it being amazing? Like you didn't really need to care why.
Honestly, I think that they did a really strong adaptation. And if you're not looking at like the Kurosawa film, and you're not looking at more, I guess you could say, lenient adaptations of Macbeth, I think that this movie probably is like the gold standard of what a performance of Macbeth can be in film.
It's like, I don't know, it's like asking why make Lion King if you've already done The King and I or something, right?
Yeah.
Those
Yeah.
are both King Lear, right? Am I
Wait,
wrong?
no.
No, sorry, wait, no, shit, no.
Hamlet.
Hamlet.
It's
Sorry,
Hamlet.
my bad. Hamlet. Why make more adaptations of any kind of piece of Shakespeare? And it's like, I think pretty much any film has to justify its existence within its own runtime and
Yeah.
context. And I feel like this movie more than does that. Like it feels like the definitive version of like the play of what it's
Exactly,
trying
yeah.
to show and like say and everything. I think it hits the nail on the head. I'm not a big I'm a huge Shakespearean scholar here at all. I don't fucking know, but like I feel like this is like such a great like breathing into life of this play as like I would see it with its impressionist and like surrealist qualities that I couldn't get enough of. So yeah, it's like I don't know, and it's like you look at Kurosawa's like Throne of Blood. It's a completely different kind of film, and it doesn't have to be like I don't know. I think it justifies itself.
Yeah,
basically what I'm saying.
I mean,
I'm rambling.
If you look at this film, they sometimes they like to show you strong adaptations of Shakespeare, plays
In school? Yeah.
in school. So
Fuck
I
yeah.
think that this one's probably going to get shown in a ton of high schools
God,
for a
I hope
long time
so.
coming.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Like again, going back to high school, if I had the option, if it was either this or Throne of Blood, like I mean, I would still want Throne of Blood. But,
Yeah.
but if we show in this one, I would be still psyched as hell. I would be like more than satisfied. It's great.
It's like, and it does a way where like it presents the dialogue, but let's just say you just didn't hear anything, just the way it's positioned or way it's shot.
Yeah.
You could understand the basics of the story.
Yeah.
like with little simple flourishes and visual flourishes. Like one thing, because like the text is the same, right? So how do you make it different from the others? Is in the visuals, right? Like whether how subtle or unsubtle it be, or the spaces in between the dialogue. And we talked about with Ross, which I'll ask you guys how you guys think by expanding the role what it did to the text, and also Lady Macbeth's death.
Yeah.
But stuff like putting like all the door handles are daggers. Like
Yeah.
that's a good choice. That makes it a little like the surrealistic, more impressionistic. Some of the shots, especially the emphasis on like the ravens or the crows or something like that. A lot of is very simplistic in the visuals on purpose.
Yeah.
And making it black and white.
It's got like just from God, I can't stop. I want to just go and gush about the lighting in this film.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
in terms of how
It made it feel
so
like
well it's done.
every shot was on a stage. It felt like
Yeah.
you were kind of watching a stage play, but weren't.
Yeah,
if that makes any sense. It was very weird. I really appreciated it.
Yeah, Bruno Del Bonel, who's the cinematographer of this film, who did films for Amelie, Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince, Dark Shadows, Inside Llewyn Davis, Big Eyes, the list goes on. Guy's a beast. Everything feels so meticulously crafted, from the what's it called, the actual stages and the sets that are built. That, like, obviously, I don't think anything here seemed like it was practical. Everything felt like it was built purposely for this, with the
I think,
minimalist
like, towards the end.
mindset.
I think towards the end they might have done some stuff with the forest kind of merging with the throne room.
Oh,
It just that felt a little bit non-practical at some points, but
No, it could be,
might
yeah.
have been.
Yeah.
yeah, no,
It's so seamless.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
no, it was very seamless, but that's like one point where I actually think it could have been. And then also, I don't know if they ran the water backwards while the floor was filling.
They probably.
Where they
I
just
forgot about
filled
that
it
scene,
up
too.
and then reversed the shot, which I think that's how they did that shot, because everything just dried off way too quickly. It felt
Yeah, they probably
felt
shot
like-
it.
Yeah,
They probably shot it twice, right? They probably shot one with just him acting,
yeah.
and then probably shot one with like the water going backwards and reversing it, and they just put like the bottom half of his legs in one and a shot over the other and overlaid it and stuff like that, which is just like
Yeah.
simple stuff, but it's effective, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it's. I would say that's like the best word to sum up this film. It's effective.
Yeah.
Like, I just like everything that like I think it's trying to say. Like,
It was
gets
a very
across.
no nonsense film.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
the thing is, like you were saying before, without knowing the dialogue, because it is like what, like Middle English or something. I don't know exactly where the Shakespearean
English.
language.
yeah,
Yeah,
Shakespearean.
it's
English.
not exactly it's not easily digestible, but the performances, the way it's shot, the way everything is known, and also with, like, let's be honest, the background knowledge of knowing about Macbeth and Shakespeare, you kind of are able to surmise what is happening, the situations and the dialogue between the characters, and it's it's so well done. Rose, do you want to know?
No, sorry, I'm just cold.
Oh.
I didn't mean to make it seem like I was trying to interrupt you.
Oh,
No,
yeah, no.
What about you?
Yeah.
What any thoughts on
what do you
Tragedy
think?
of Macbeth?
Yeah.
I think that this was such a I know you guys say it all the time. I don't want to use this phrase, but like a visual feast. Like, it was like one after another, just like great shots and very interesting to look at. And yeah, you can probably kind of like get a little bit exhausted from the language, but the visuals keep your interest long enough to like
Yeah,
kind of float
absolutely.
you through there.
It's like Shakespeare was always tough for me just because of that language barrier. The fact that, like, I always was fascinated with the stories, and they are timeless at this point, right? But the part that obviously is not timeless is the specific language used, which ages it and can make it hard to understand. And I've always been very interested in adaptations of it that are able to take those concepts, ideas, and characters and modernize them. And
That's
I
why
think
10 Things I Hate About You is my favorite adaptation of Taming of the Shrew.
it's a great
Yeah.
adaptation.
That's a good one.
One of my
love
favorite
that
films of all time.
movie.
That's
Yeah.
that's a good one.
And
That's
yeah, so I feel like this movie does it somehow is able to use the language, but then still bring it to modern times, and it's great.
And it's
Mhm.
crazy that I thought that Coen brothers did a Macbeth adaptation before Kenneth Branagh. Because Kenneth
Yeah,
Branagh
right?
makes every single Shakespeare thing.
Yeah, he's a super Shakespearean dude. I mean, he tried to do that with Thor. I mean, it's a mixed results, but like, yeah. So it's
What were some of your favorite shots from the film?
so hard.
Definitely the witches towards the beginning of the film.
With the puddle.
It's a
Oh.
mixture of the two shots where she's just kind of there. She's giving her monologue, and doing the contorting stuff that she's doing. And then when you see her stand up, start talking to Macbeth, and then you see her visually as just one person, and then in the reflection, it's two other people because they're supposed to be the weird sisters or whatever. Yeah,
Yeah.
is how they refer to them. And there are three in one, which is like a big thing in. Is that in other Shakespeare film
I
or
feel like that goes
Shakespeare
back
plays.
to like even the like the fates and like Greek
Yeah,
mythology
yeah,
and stuff.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
it's just like kind of an ancient like symbolism thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that was done very effectively.
Past, present, future.
And then just her tone of speech too was very eerie,
You wanna
and
do an
you got
impression
that
of her?
you got that feel.
Something
No,
wicked
You wanna-
this way comes.
see that's great, Ron. You do great impressions.
Well, what,
Yeah.
about, what about you, Rosie? What
Um,
was some of your favorite shots and moments from the film?
Okay. I do, now that like you guys bring it up, like in the beginning with the puddle and then there's only like one reflection. That was really cool. Also, there's at a later point, I don't know what is it called, the like when they're like hanging or when the
Oh, like it's kind of like the skylight, or they have the open
the, like-
ceiling, and there's like the shoot, I know
What
what you're
is-
saying.
you
Like
know
the
what I'm
support
talking-
beams,
the
pretty
support
much.
beams.
Yeah, and,
And
they're hanging
then
off
she's
of them.
like staring down and stuff. I really enjoyed
yeah.
there. And then just even like as there are so many interesting shots, but some of them it's just like I think it was Lady Macbeth just like walking down a hall and like towards like the door, and everything's just so tall and just like she's so small in this like big room, and it's very simple but
Yeah.
effective.
Yeah, for me, I think it's the one shot that like, keeps popping back into my mind is the one when he's about to go kill King Duncan, and as he's like, you see down the hall, like it looks like there's a floating dagger, and he starts talking about like there's a floating dagger over there that's like pulling me towards this room that I gotta go fulfill this like destiny or whatever, is to kill the king and inherit the kingdom or whatever, and as it like it's the long shot, like there's like a shot in reverse of him and the door, and as you get closer you slowly realize like once he's almost there that it's actually the door handle, and then it's like that's just like I don't know, fuck, that's so good.
Super cool.
Yeah, like he reaches out and he grabs it, and then boom, he goes into the room, and then he commits the deed. That one really stuck out in my mind. And then again, the final fight between him and Macduff when they're like in the hallway, and then eventually it kind of turns into like the forest, and you see them standing there. And it's like there's like 8 shots there that are beautiful. But,
yeah, and you've got all the leaves kind of blowing in through the window,
Yes,
and
yeah.
it feels like as the soldiers are marching covered in bushes, and they say the bushes are marching towards the castle.
yeah,
And it feels like it's actually coming in and invading the castle, and it's
it's awesome. It's awesome. It's
oh.
his fate, and it's like there.
And it's
The shot-
creeping toward him.
one cool shot, very tragic shot though, was the kid falling into the flames of the burning house.
Oh, yeah.
Oh
yeah.
my god! How
Yeah.
did I not?
That was brutal.
I
Yeah, 'cause
forget
the guy
about
just
that. That
picks
was
him
the-
up and just chucks him into the smoke.
Oh my
Mhm.
god! Awful.
Yeah.
I was so shocked.
That's why. Oh my god! They're like, "Hey man," he's like, "How are my kids?" And then he's like, they're at peace." Like they're,
Oh,
they're,
good.
They're
Good.
yeah. Last
The
time I
whole
saw
family?
them, they were at peace. Okay, let's
Good.
move on, dude. Yeah. Like-
It's what's it called? I think one of my favorite shots is when it's a nighttime. It's Banquo's murder. That one shot of it's like there's a castle on the upper right hand corner.
Yeah.
You see the road in the middle, and you see the murderers waiting in the foreground, and you see Banquo and his Fleance, right, his son,
yeah.
and they're coming closer to the things, the long take as they're going into the impending doom. That's like just like a poster painting.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
And it's like I finally got the name of the film right. The cabinet of Doctor Caligari.
Caligari.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. The weird German expressionist. I'm just gonna show.
Ah.
Oh,
Okay.
wait, the early German expressionist one?
Yeah.
That's kind of in blue?
no,
No?
but like this one.
Oh, okay.
Let
Yeah.
me-
See, like that's what I like about this film
Oh,
is that
yeah, so that one was they recolored it in like a bluer tone at a certain point.
Right, but
Yeah,
like the actual true version should be black and white.
But nobody's seen the actual true version in like 25 years.
you can still see it. It's out there on the web on torrent.
No, but that's pieced together versions because they don't have the actual like original copy, and all the stuff that they do have is just different clips that they've actually had to recut together from different copies that they've found.
Yeah, but that's still a version. You can
Okay.
see.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, either way, I like that. That's one of the things we are talking about earlier is the fact that this film is like, it feels like a modern expressionist kind of film where it's like that surrealist quality to it. It has like that German expressionist kind of quality where the buildings and everything they're not warped, but they're definitely, damn, I'm trying to figure out how to like say it exactly. they are they are over exaggerated and everything, and they
They're
give
like caricatures.
exactly yes,
Yeah.
they're like impressions
Yes,
of like
impressions.
of what you would expect a medieval castle to look like,
Or
And-
even like that house at the crossroads.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. That felt very German expressionist because like the doorway is like lenient to the side.
Yeah.
Everything just it's off kilter.
You could tell that it wasn't really a house. It had the shape of a house. It was very much about like forms.
Yeah.
So
Ugh,
yeah,
Absolutely.
based on its form, it was a house, but you could tell that it wasn't actually like a house.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense.
This movie for me is just going to go down. Oh God, it's just going to be it's already on my list if you haven't heard already like our end of the year special. It's up there for me. I'm so excited. I'm sorry. I'm jumping the gun here, but yeah. Yeah, okay. So what do you guys have any other like
Well, I guess let's go into the one of the big differences, right? Is what's called, you know how like Ross is given an expanded role, right? And if anything, like he's almost like they make him seem like he's a secret perpetrator for a lot of events, like especially with Fleance escaping, like he seems to be helping with that. And also, the biggest thing is when they're about to get invaded by Macduff and Malcolm,
Mm-hmm.
when Lady Macbeth is on the stairs,
Yeah.
Ross is slowly walking up the stairs. What do you think Joel Cohen is trying to suggest by that? Do you think he's trying to suggest that he assisted her in death, or they're trying to suggest something otherwise, or maybe he's convincing her?
You know, I'm not really sure. I think that really is something that is left open to interpretation on purpose, but it's hard for me to say.
What do you guys think?
Um,
Do you think Ross totally killed that bitch, or
I think it is open to interpretation, but my interpretation is that he probably said something that, pushed her over the edge, if you know what I'm saying.
I think he killed her.
Dude,
I think
he
he straight
had
up.
something to do with it.
Yeah, I think he straight up was like, "Yeah, I'm kind of sick of this shit." I think the killing of like what's it called, Malcolm's like family and stuff was the final straw. He was
or
like,
no, Macduff's family?
or sorry, Macduff's family was the final straw. So he was like, "Fuck it, this guy's dead." So she just like is just quickly just like cutting off the final threads and just pushed her down the stairs or whatever and ended up killing her.
And,
Yeah.
and what do you think
Oh,
about that
God.
choice? I know it's just like that.
Oh, no.
What do you guys think about that choice of also ending it with Ross and Fleance, and them going away from the castle and then hitting and then ending with a bunch of like crows or ravens, which was like symbolic of the witches, right? That's their usually trademark.
Yeah. I think
What do you think he's trying to say with that?
It
final
makes
shot?
you wonder what the witches said to
Macduff, Malcolm,
Ross?
no, Ross. Yes,
Yeah.
Ross. Sorry. Yeah, it makes you wonder what the witches told to Ross, because we don't know that, they spoke to Banquo, they spoke to Macbeth, so we don't know that they didn't speak to anybody else. And
They were around.
Yeah.
But I mean, what's also like the thematic reason why do you think he ended it with those two going away and ending it with literally ravens?
for
hard to say.
Macbeth 2,
Yeah.
Electric Boogaloo.
Macduff's revenge.
Yeah.
Like we're all slaves to fate. We're being
I'd say it probably has to do with fate ultimately, right? Like
Mhm.
the witches especially, they represent fate, and death and everything, and so do the ravens. So yeah.
And
You're
no
gonna say-
matter where you go,
Yeah.
it'll follow you.
This
Yeah.
is always destined to be stuff like that.
Yeah, as they're leaving. It's funny because like watching I was watching again Throne of Blood, not gonna get into it too much, but also with this, it's like I always have had the theory where it's like I think Macbeth could have had a similar fate, basically still had become the king and eventually was it Malcolm, right? His
Yeah.
sons would have like
Or no, like,
followed.
are you talking about Banco's son?
Oh yes, he
Yeah.
would have still like followed him because like, either way, regardless of fate, if he had just been like basically patient and less ambitious, like who knows, like maybe the king would eventually have like bestowed the kingdom on him, or there would have been some kind of circumstances. Because I always believe there's like it's still that the idea that fate would have still existed, regardless of what he did, because that's what makes it fate. And then, but it just wouldn't have necessarily had ended so tragically. Like he didn't have to murder the king. That's what really fucks it up. Where it's like, okay, now then it just leads down this alternate route where it's just death and mayhem.
Yeah, death begets death.
Yeah,
exactly.
Like the tragedy comes from his ambition, or tragedy comes from like like let's say like fate, like the machinations of fate, like this is all done
I
to create a certain outcome.
I say
The
it's
knowledge
his
of
ambition,
future.
and ultimately that's where his choice comes into play, because there is the question, like, would this have happened regardless? And it's like, I think it would, and the difference is like in the details, right? And that's where he made his choice, and then that's what ultimately sealed his fate,
Right,
ironically.
because even at the end, like the reason why he dies is he was like doing okay with his sword battle against Macduff, at least in the film adaptation. But then
Yeah.
the reason why he dies is because his crown comes off, and he chooses instead to defend himself, he grabs
Yeah.
the crown. What do
Mhm.
you think about that choice for Cohen to do that?
I
That's
think
perfect.
that works very well thematically with the way that the rest of the film goes,
Yeah.
because you see that he's choosing power over life.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And
choosing his own ambition over
Yeah.
above all else.
and he's basically making the wrong choice and sacrificing himself because of his lust for power, because he sees himself as being, I am the king, and he thinks that he has defeated fate at this point because he thinks that he has killed off the second part of the prophecy, so it can't come true, so he's held fate where he is just king.
And what do you guys think of Washington's performance, especially during his final moments? Where, like, I've seen a lot of other Macbeth adaptations, like they play Macbeth as more desperate or pathetic, or they play Macbeth as more angry, but this one he seemed more resigned to
Yeah,
his faith. Like, he's very quiet in the final moments.
I
Yeah.
think that his best parts of his performance came down to his monologues. I feel like his monologues were his best kind of the best part of when he was performing, when he was just talking to himself, or kind of going over the situation in his head. You saw him being very emotive and very calculating at the same time, and it really went well with what he was saying.
What about you guys? What about you, Rosie? What do you think about Washington's final moments? Not I mean, he's still alive, but as Macbeth, and also just overall his performance as Macbeth. I mean, Frances McDormand, I guess we can all just say she was fantastic, and
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like she did kind of steal the show for me.
she was great.
She was great. So with, I don't know, Macbeth was, just reserved, not as,
Not as showy, right? Or
not
kind of
as, yeah. You had to kind of like see how he felt based off his actions, and not really how like he would express himself like vocally. He would
Yeah.
say the same
Yeah.
things, but not with as much like fire behind it, which is fine.
Yeah.
That's fine.
What about you, Ron?
And I thought he was great. I loved his understated performance, really, while he's like slowly descending into madness and everything. The way that he's able to just show how much he's in denial but acceptance at the same time, right? Like what?
Nothing.
Okay.
No, continue what you're saying. I'll follow up. I'm sorry.
No, yeah, and then like it's just like yet still like his ferocity, and he's still like doubling down at the same time. It's like no, like I'm meant to be fucking king. Like relax. And then I don't know, like it's just he does a fantastic job. Denzel Washington, he's a fucking top tier actor, and it's like all on display here. It's great.
Yeah. I think. Sorry, you saw my light bulb go off. I think that his performance here shows like what a great like actor he is in film. And Macbeth is like traditionally, on stage and stuff, or like done as like a play. So that's probably kind of one of the pluses here, that you can see like how it's being translated into like a film instead through his acting, and it makes a big difference. It really makes this stand out compared to other interpretations.
Adaptations.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Thank you.
All right, you guys want to get into final ratings?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, what about you, Miles?
Final ratings. I really like this movie. Didn't quite crack my top 10 this year, but it came close. It's definitely in the museum because of what it represents, and I think that it's going to be shown in a lot of classes in the future.
Yes.
For like high school classes, and like Ron was saying, this is probably the definitive direct adaptation of Macbeth.
All right, the same. It's also in the museum for me. Just echo your thoughts. What about you, Rosie?
I agree with everything Miles said. This is Macbeth.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, your rating.
Oh, in the museum, because this is Macbeth.
And you, Ron. Drum roll, please.
So I think Toshiro Mifune does a fantastic job in. Oh wait, no, I'm just kidding. No. I think this is it's a definitive version. I feel like this film is one of those ones you can just present to someone to show a masterclass in pretty much every aspect of filmmaking, from lighting, set design, acting, directing, cinematography. Brilliant. So yes, in the museum for sure.
By the way, I don't think we talked about it being in black and white, but I just want to ask you guys real quickly, what did you think of the choice to make this a black and white film versus doing it in color?
Well, I think we kind of touched on it briefly before, but it simplifies the narrative visuals where it's focused more on the dialogue and the action.
It's about the texture.
Yeah.
Yes.
But do you think that it was a good creative decision?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It was awesome in black and white.
And it's funny now. There's 2 black and white adaptations with Throne of Blood as well. I keep talking about it because I just saw it and I really wanted to talk about it.
I think Orson Welles is black and white too. I just had to double check. Yeah.
Well, I think 2 definitive versions.
2 definitive versions. Yes.
I think it does a great job. I feel like Macbeth is one of those things that has to be black and white. I don't know why, but it reminds me of to quote The Witcher here, evil is evil, and I feel like those choices are pretty black and white. Should I murder the king? Should I not? How about not? Don't do that.
Don't do it.
Yeah, it's just don't.
Buddy?
So I feel like it works so well. And again, when you strip it down and all the lighting and the stages that they're on and the characters that are interplaying within them, it's serviced so well by the harsh contrast of both the lighting and just the lack of color, which is black and white. Yeah.
I mean, if only Washington dodged real arrows, then this would have been even better.
Right? If only they could just shot him a couple times.
Yeah, I know. Which is crazy. Which is crazy that they did that for Throne of Blood.
Yeah. There's multiple characters get shot by real arrows, and they had little planks of wood under their armor to stop them. And there's a part where Toshido, he stabs a dude and he had a wood plank to stop his sword because it's a real fucking sword, and it went through. And it actually stabbed the guy, and it's oh fuck. But
this
you could do that.
You use prop swords.
This is what I'm talking about. Yeah,
you could do that in the
dedicate
50s.
to your craft. Not now.
They literally built the entire spiderweb castle, and then
on Mount Fuji, right?
Yeah, on Mount Fuji, and Kurosawa didn't like it. He's like, nope, let's do it again. And they tore it down and did it again. Because you could do that after you make 7 Samurai.
That's Kurosawa for you, though.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, let's wrap this
Thank you guys. Thank you guys for another episode. This was a fun one to do. It's a bit of a marathon for recording today.
Yeah.
And you know what? It's an honor, you guys.
Yeah,
it is an honor.
What did you guys think of Macbeth? Let us know if you saw it or not. I know it was a pretty limited release. We may not have seen it, but if you do come back to this at some point, let us know.
Yeah, Apple TV might be the reason why to get it.
Is this your definitive Macbeth or not?
Okay, thank you, and have a nice day.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.